It's time for the HabNormals podcast. All Habs, all the time. Hey there, everybody. It's HabNormals time. I'm your host, Rick, and over there, co-host Harry Rice. Matt Norton is actually at the Red Sox game, so he found that to be more important than doing the podcast. So he is not here this week. We have a pretty good show for you tonight, I believe, anyway, as we gear up for the approach of training camps. So we have got some interesting little tidbits, I call that. And Harry's going to lead us off in a sec with that. A couple of little stories. Then we're going to talk about, let's see, the recent trade by Nashville to San Jose for goalie Yaroslav Askarov. After that was done, it came out that Montreal was one of the three teams interested in Askarov. And so Harry and I are going to try to figure out why would that be, right? Because I think we got a pretty good goalie tandem. I know Harry's big on Primo this year, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
You had the hot takes about Primo, unless you're just to make hot takes.
No, I did have that count. I didn't get what you were talking about for a second, but yeah, no, I thought that Primo could steal some starts from Monty.
So we're going to try to figure out why they might have wanted to shake things up or change things around, and reach for Askarov. And then there was an article put out by a writer, Stephen Ellis. He's a guy I follow on Twitter for a while. I haven't had any interaction with him, but he wrote an article about prospect pools, and it was all the teams listed, ranking them actually. And Montreal falls into second on his list, with San Jose just ahead of them. And I know somebody else put one out a little while ago. I think it was before the draft, and Montreal was already at the third. And then they drafted Demidov and Hage and Koivu. And I think that, we're at third already, so it's not how much farther can they go up anyway. But they went up a notch to, I think, most people. So I kind of think that's pretty accurate. So we're going to talk about that and give our opinions. And we'll go over who is here for Montreal. We'll look at some of the other prospect pools. Like, we'll go through the article a little bit. And that's what we got for you. Hopefully it's not too much. And hopefully you're going to enjoy that. So, Harry, say hi. And at the same time, that item there that you had just brought up to me, that I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about here, but I give my opinion.
Yes. So firstly, hello, everybody. I am the co-host, Harry Rice. I want to start us off with something that I think is actually a really big step in the right direction for broadcasting in the NHL or even other sports. I think everybody knows the Bally Sports stuff that's been going on with the with multiple sports leagues, but including the NHL, where they were going bankrupt. They might be several NHL teams might be homeless for their broadcasting rights for this upcoming season, and all of that
from last year. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then it came out a couple months ago that, it came out a couple days ago, actually, that Bally Sports has struck a deal with a couple NHL teams to keep the broadcasting rights.
Oh, nice.
But for a team like Anaheim, who was one of the teams that had been apparently agreed to this deal, they're now pulling out. It seems like, because they have given the rights. They've partnered up with Fox Plus, a local affiliate, KCOP Channel 13, and Victory Plus, which is I guess a streaming app, for all regional Ducks games free of charge starting this year. So if you are in the Anaheim local area, I guess maybe California as a whole, but if you're in the area and you have the Victory Plus app, you will now get all Anaheim Ducks games for free. It seems like. So
I think this is for free.
Yeah, I think this is a big step in the right direction, though. Now, obviously, there's going to be ads probably where they put the commercial breaks. They'll probably have their own ads, I would think.
Yeah.
But for these games to be free, now it didn't specify whether it's all the home games.
You have to pay for the app, I would imagine, right?
I would think. Let me look up the app right now, actually. Let me do this like
very
quickly. Yeah, I think that it's something that is big. I think that it's a step in the right direction, because if every NHL team can get away from being on, say, ESPN or TNT in America, or over here Sportsnet, TSN, and they have specifically their own app or their own broadcasting covered or whatever, that's huge. Because, for example, with us being Canadians fans, if there was one app that had Canadians games,
it's interesting you said that, because I read an article 2 weeks ago about that Montreal is considering starting their own streaming service for their games.
I didn't see that, actually.
Yes, I saw this a couple of weeks. It's not for free or tied to an app.
Yeah, it'd be paid, obviously.
They're considering doing that. So that's another kind of, right? And I heard that and I said, that might be.
I'd love that, especially as well with Victory Plus. They've said that they have all live broadcasts on a Ducks channel is what they would have, and it would feature as well exclusive shows and content. So I would think something like that Maple Leafs documentary from Amazon Prime a couple years ago, that All or Nothing, the upcoming Canadiens documentary on Crave, the Rebuild, I think is what it's just called, the Rebuild inside the Montreal Canadiens.
Is that what it's called?
I think it's something like that. I think it's that, which, by the way, I don't know if Rick will be watching that. I'll definitely be watching that, and I'll be giving my thoughts whenever it comes out.
If I can get it, but if not, I can go to my ex-wife. She's got Crave, so I'll go watch it there. But if I can get it without having to do that, I'm definitely going to watch it, though.
Yeah, there we go. And for anyone who does want to check it out, I will say real quick, for the Rebuild inside the Montreal Canadiens, it premieres September 18th. So I don't know if it's just going to be a one-time thing. I would assume it's going to be episodic, I would think. There's no way
there's a lot of episodes, but I think there's a few, like maybe 4.
Probably 3 or 4. Yeah, that sounds about right. 4 or 5.
But I don't know if that's accurate. But there's not a lot. But there's maybe even only 2. But there's more than 1, I believe.
Yeah, I would think so. I'm trying to look on the Crave site to see if it says anything, but it's not. It's just saying that it's coming out on the. Yeah, it says 8 1-hour episodes.
Oh, it's 8 episodes. Awesome.
Yeah. That's from NHL.com. So it seems like they're going to go probably a month an episode then.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and of course, last year there was a lot to talk about. Doc's injury, Newhook's injury, Monahan's injury.
Yeah,
there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot. Yeah. Hang on. I got to log out of Facebook, because if I don't, I'm going to hear the ding from the chat.
But yeah, so like with the Ducks here, what they're doing, I'm a huge fan of it. Of course, it's probably paid, but the Ducks channel itself is free. You just pay for the app, which I'd have no problem with that if I were an Anaheim fan.
Sounds worth it, right? How much can an app be? And then if you're getting the games, that sounds worth it.
Like of course, it could be maybe $20, $30, but like that's still worth it to me. Like if there was
sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just going to say, if the Canadians do end up going the same route with a thing for their own games and maybe even extra content, I'd pay for that easily.
And it's not going to be free. It's going to cost something,
Yeah.
And just what I wanted to say was, because the season's about to start. So I'm currently about to re-up for the package, right? So I thought, let's check out and see if there's another way, somebody better, a better provider than. Nope, in Canada, you want to get the games when you're streaming them.
Yeah,
Sportsnet Plus. That's all. That's it.
Yeah, but even Sportsnet Plus, not that good.
Not that good. No, I would not recommend it to anybody.
How many blackouts did you get last year?
Well, I have a VPN. That's why I have the VPN, so I didn't get blacked out. Oh, that's true.
Yeah. And think about
which is your way around that, right? So there's no games blacked out when you.
But if you didn't have a VPN, how many blackouts would you have gotten?
I would have barely gotten half the Habs games.
Exactly, and that thing is expensive. So to get 40 games, if you're lucky, that's not worth it. Like,
really, what it cost was it's $250 a year, and then you got to get a VPN.
Yeah,
my VPN's not expensive and it works fine.
No, it's VPNs are like really good price now.
And everything every 3 months is nothing, but still, it's not cheap.
And then again, I think if the Canadians or Sabres or any other teams want to do this, they have my full support. I would love to get away from exclusive rights to Sportsnet, TSN, anything like that.
Well, the Sportsnet contract must be up soon.
I think so. Let me actually look that up. I haven't seen it like that. Oh, never mind. It was a $5.2 billion 12-year rights agreement from. Oh wait, no, never mind. It expires after next year. It's
so things like this could change in the near future of how the games are going to get delivered because that contract is up.
Oh yeah, especially if like the Ducks app, which I think that's probably what the rest of the league is going to be looking at, is how successful is the app, how does it run, all that stuff. I think that's going to be a big beta test in a way for every other NHL team to see if they want to head in that direction of, hey, can we handle this ourselves, or do we need Sportsnet TSN for another 5-10 years until we can get going with this? Obviously, I'm hoping the Ducks broadcast goes flawlessly. A lot of people sign up for it. It's a big profit as well. Obviously, that's another thing they will be looking at. I want to see that. I'd love it if I could stop subscribing to Sportsnet, TSN, whatever, stop wasting money there, and just get a Habs app to get Habs stuff. I'd love that. I'd have no issue with that whatsoever.
I kind of don't mind getting some of the other games because we watch, but I mean, still, it's a lot of money. And you figure for the money that you're paying, why are you blacked out with so many games?
Yeah, like even like Toronto fans, I've heard like they get blacked out a lot. Winnipeg fans, especially.
I figured out why what games they black out.
Yeah,
if they're not carrying it on a Sportsnet network, it's blacked out. In your area.
Yep. Which is why half the games get blacked out because half of them are on TSN, half of them are on Sportsnet, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why so many games, because I figured out every time it was on TSN, blacked out. Every time it's on Sportsnet, I don't need the VPN.
Yeah. Yep. Which is like, how messed up is that? That it's like, hey, we only have the rights for half the games and charge them anyways, $250. It's like, okay, if you like multiple sports, then okay, maybe it's worth it. But for a guy like us, where we basically just get it for hockey, I don't know about you, Rick, but I'd only be getting it basically for hockey.
Yeah.
Maybe UFC and boxing.
Yeah.
$250?
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff they throw at you is most of it's garbage. I don't watch it. So give me a better price and just give me hockey.
Yeah, like if you're a UFC fan, that's a fantastic deal. $250 instead of paying $60 a pop for pay-per-views. That's a good deal.
And a Blue Jays, if you're a Blue Jays fan, because you get all the Jays games.
Yeah, they get every single game. Yeah,
you get a bunch of rugby, you get a bunch of things, but I don't want any of that. I literally don't want any. The only thing I want is the hockey. That way I can get all the draft. I get all those things there.
Yeah,
everything I need is there. So I don't need it. Preseason games. I get everything.
Yeah, great. Exactly.
But yeah,
exactly. But
stupid. All right.
And here's the thing as well. Yeah. I will say one quick thing real quick is that the Ducks are retaining their broadcasting staff from Bally's. So they have John Allers, Brian Hayward, Habs legend,
there you go.
Ali Lazov, Kent French, great name, and Guy Hebert. Love Guy Hebert, big fan of him. They're all returning. So now, whether that means every team would want to retain their staff, I don't think so. I personally think the Canadians would want to try and get a Habs alumni in the broadcasting booth. But of course, that's all dependent on what happens, who wants to be there. Yeah.
If they're streaming their own games, I imagine they'll have their own crew.
Yeah, and plus I would think every team would probably try and come up with some type of unique graphic for the scorecard, for the scoreboard, which is another thing I'd love, is to see how many teams get really creative. How many teams go back to the way it should be, where it's that long thing up top like CBC used to do. My favorite scorecard, probably. How many teams go with the left? How many teams put at the bottom? See how many teams.
The American station. When you got to watch an American feed, I hate it because
Valley Sports is on the bottom.
They don't give you the shots a lot of times, or they don't give you. There's a lot. They don't give. I don't like it. Yeah.
No.
I hope I hope this works. This is maybe the way of the future. All right, let's move on.
I think it is. Yeah.
Let's move on to a couple of quick things. It won't take long, I don't think. Okay, so we get a lot of I guess for us, right? We get a lot of Leafs fans. And I say Leafs fans because it's mostly Leafs fans that like to brag or put Montreal down, and Montreal's a laughingstock, and they've got a horrible team and they've never done anything. Okay, this is playoff rounds won for Canadian teams since 2008. Who leads that? So Montreal with 10. Montreal leads the way with playoff rounds won for Canadian teams right from 2008 till this past playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a surprise to a lot of people? It might be.
Shouldn't
Not really
be.
a surprise to me. The surprise, as Harry was saying earlier when we looked at it, was Canucks. We didn't realize the Canucks would be second. Yeah. They're right behind Montreal, but still behind Montreal with 9. Oilers have 7. Winnipeg and Calgary have 3 each. Ottawa has 2. And guess who has only 1? Guess, everybody. You don't have to look. Don't look at the screen. Guess.
Quebec Nordiques, obviously.
Probably have more than the Leafs.
Probably. You're right. The Habs do. They even have a cup in that time.
Right. The Maple Leafs. 1. So any Leafs fans out there want to brag, and not the good ones. The good ones are good. The other ones who want to come in here and be with their bullshit. Yeah, look at that. Never mind Cups won. Yeah. Not since 2008, but in the history. Yeah. All right, let's move on.
And to any of those Leafs fans as well, by the way, that are saying, oh, well, it's encompassing a rebuild from 08 to like 2013. That's also including Montreal's rebuild. It's including Montreal's rebuild the last couple of years. It's going back to 08. We were trash in 08, I'm pretty sure. 2018, we were trash.
Yeah, because 08, that's when we got Kovalev, I want to say.
Yeah, I think. And the first year wasn't great. No.
Yeah, and then they did okay. Like when they made the play, they had up and down, right? 1 year good, 1 year bad. I think it was like that every second year. They'd make the playoffs and win a round or two. We weren't horrible, but we weren't great. But we won playoff rounds.
Never mind, I was wrong. Oh, wait, we were pretty friggin' good. 47, 25, and 10.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that a couple of years there, and then he revamped the team and sent Koivu away, and then it went back down. Yep. Yeah.
Then didn't send Koivu away. Let him walk as a free agent.
No, I agree, but I mean that's essentially was the same thing.
Yeah.
Sent him away because you made him leave.
Yeah.
Made him leave. Sent him away. Same thing.
And then, funny enough, 2010 then happened, which weird. But hey, maybe we got past the Flyers if we still have Staku Koivu.
Right. That's right. You never know, right?
Yeah.
You never know. Who would have thought he'd go on to 5-6 years with Anaheim? I mean,
crazy. Played great for them too for a couple of years.
But back then, Montreal did that kind of stuff a lot. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Yaroslav Askarov. The only 2 players under 20 to put up 20 plus goals, 30 plus assists, and 150 plus hits are Gabriel Landeskog in his 2012 rookie or Calder season, and Yaroslav Askarov in 2024. So, and keep in mind, the hit stat only goes back to 2007-8. So, Yaroslav Askarov, Gabriel Landeskog, good hockey player. That's not a bad, company to be, especially only being the second one. That's pretty good company and lofty. So there's something there. And Slav was named Player of the Year. I'm pretty sure it's in Slovakia. So he's Slovakia's Player of the Year, are Yaroslav Askarov. And I've read a few like little quotes of his. I should have brought some in. He's sounding confident for this year. What's that?
He was named Slovakia's 2024 Best Player Under 20, Best Forward, and Player of the Year.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense, though. I mean, he's Player of the Year. He's probably the best forward, and then he's probably the best under 20, right?
Right.
So it makes sense. But I mean, that's a hell of a what is the word I'm looking for? A take for him for one, and I think deservedly so. Deservedly so. I mean, he made and it's nobody I read, because somebody recently put out on Twitter there like predict points for, and 5-6 players. Slav was one of them, and surprisingly, most people are right around what I have for him.
But that's 70 points, 6-5, right?
I had 28 goals, 43 assists, 71 points from this season.
Yeah.
And I said also, if he gets more than that, I'm not going to be surprised one bit.
No, not at all. I won't be surprised either. I think I had him at like 80 points, 75 around there when I did my predictions. Which, by the way, anybody watching should check out both of our point predictions videos.
He was yes, do that. I don't. They're not in the links, but Harry Rice Hockey. Just you're going to get to him, and you're on this channel already. There you go. Yeah. And mine was the last video I put out, so I think that's not a short. It's the last video. And I lost my. Okay, well with Slav, like he was at when he moved him to the first line, he was at close to a point a game, right? Mm-hmm. So he's another year older. He is that character, the kind of guy he is. He's going to be better.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I was conservative honestly, I think I'm conservative at 71.
Yeah?
A little bit. I don't know how much, but.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he comes and he puts up 90 points. Love that, obviously, but.
I don't know about 90, but
I could definitely see a point per game campaign. Definitely see a point per game.
I'm not going to say like I'm shocked. If he's 90. Maybe.
I think so.
I'm not going to predict that he's going to do that, but
no. But it's not out of the room. It's not that he can't. It's that can he?
Yeah, I think that's I think that's his attitude. Is not never looking at I can't do something. It's more of, I'm going to work to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically it. I had for 90 points though. I had a player at 90 points.
It's Suzuki, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of us do. I think all of us have Suzuki leading the team in points.
Oh, true. You had it. That's right. I'm kind of you probably put that in my head, and I thought about it. Yeah, you know what? With the improved power play after Line A, right? Because when you said it, I don't think did we have Line A? Was that when you said it?
I think it was. I think so.
So with Line A, yeah, I don't see why that can't be.
Yeah, no, especially the first unit looks like Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, Line A, and Hudson on the blue line. Like,
yeah,
that should be a 5 power play.
That's gonna be, that is gonna be that first unit.
Yeah, the first unit.
That first unit's got to be like you almost now. It's only the first year they're together, but that's gonna be an almost unstoppable. I mean. You think, we don't know till they play, but on paper, that's pretty powerful.
It is. And even on the second unit, you've got Doc, Matheson, Mayu, along with probably a new hook and
right. It won't be
maybe Romeo or a Joshua. Like
it won't be like last year where second unit was,
Yeah.
We're going to be a decent
good first unit and a good second unit. Yeah.
A good second unit, right. With, I think, a really good first unit. Yeah. No, power play is going to change going forward. That's for sure.
I think so, too.
That's going to be a big part of that. So with Suzuki getting 90 points, he got 77 last year. If the power play is that much better, he's going to get 10 more points on the power play.
He should, minimum. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Now, of course, unless he focuses a little more on his defensive game, which I have no issue with, and if points slack slightly because of that, which was the case last year, he was sacrificing points at times to play better defensively.
It's going to be a high-powered offense, though.
It will be, absolutely.
So, definitely. He might play some, but it's going to be such a high-powered offense, I don't know how he's going to, his numbers they're not going to drop, that's for sure.
Yeah, no. Definitely not.
Yeah.
They shouldn't drop at least.
No. I mean, he may have a bad year here and there. I don't know, but you can't predict that. And it doesn't look like that, right? All right, last little bit of news here is just something I saw yesterday. And I think I'm not actually sure how I know for me, I'd be very happy if they change this. And that is multiple NHL players call on league to abolish the shootout. And, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what they bring in, obviously. If they extend 3-on-3 to 10 minutes, I'd love that. That'd be entertaining.
That. I mean, that's what other option, though? I mean, that would be the option.
Yeah, for me, I think 10-minute 5-on-3, and then if a game's tied after that, it's a tie. Because let's be honest, if you can't score in 10 minutes of 5-on-3, a 3-on-3, you deserve the tie.
Yeah, and I also think, honestly, and they're not going to do this. If you tie and go into overtime, only the winner of overtime gets the 2 points.
I understand people saying that. I do like the loser point. Apparently, if you do take out the loser points, not a whole lot typically does change.
That's what they say. But the integrity of the game changes back to being. Don't you find? Listen, if the winner gets 2 points, and then if you tie after the 10, then you split the points like in the old days.
Yeah, no, like definitely for a tie, I think you split the points one each, definitely. But no, I mean, like overtime loss getting a point, I've got no issue with that.
They won't change
for me
that.
Personally.
Yeah, they won't change it because there's more of a reason.
They're too used to it.
No, but the fans are more excited about more points being there. It's all fan interest thing because of the Americans. Americans need that, to attract new fans. That's what it is. I'm not putting Americans down. It's not what I'm doing, but it's true. That's what it's for. Because in Canada, you don't need Canadians to be enticed. Like, we don't need that. I don't. I'd rather be a little more traditional, but I'm okay with it because I do get excited when Montreal needs a point and they do get a tie and they get that point.
Exactly, yeah.
I get it. But, I think you are right. It doesn't really make a difference. Not enough. No. It's not like it's a huge difference in teams that are there. It's pretty much the same teams would be there, whether the extra point's there or not. And I get that.
Yeah.
So in that, I'd say, okay, if it makes people more excited, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Like I know last year, I'm pretty sure someone ran the numbers, and Boston and New York, who had the same amount of overtime losses or similar. Boston still would have made the playoffs, but the Islanders would have been the only team that changed. Other than that, it was like I think one or two positions would have shifted. Yeah,
maybe
it's really not.
But it's not much different. Basically, the playoff teams were the playoff team.
Yeah, except again, like the Islanders, they would have been, I think, the only one that actually would have went out. Which, if it's one or two,
there's always going to be collateral damage, no matter what you do.
Exactly.
So, but if it does engage fans more, whatever. But I don't like the shootout. Get rid of that. While it can be exciting, yes, but it's only because it's there and we got no choice.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'll say I don't mind the shootout. I don't hate it as much as other people do. I don't love it though. I think it's just okay. I do think if you score in the shootout, it should count as a goal in your total. That's the only thing I don't like about the shootout, is that they don't count the goal.
I wouldn't go there, but the game-winning goal, that should count.
Yeah, I saw someone, like one NHL player who was commenting on it, that said something like that. I think it should count under the game-winning goals column, but I don't think it's that goal should count as a goal towards your full total. I think it should either be all of them or none of them. That's me personally.
No, you know why? Okay, maybe all or none and be none, because if you do all and you get one of those high, I mean, it's going to put goal numbers up, and then money's going to just go crazy.
Why? Well, I mean, if you have a 13-round shootout, like, okay, yeah, you could put the same guy out, like the Americans did against Russia in the 2014 Olympics, where they had Oshie shoot, I think, 4 out of the 6 times. You could do that. But a lot of the time, the teams will put out different players, and I don't think
but even then, their numbers, like, they have a few good nights where, they score a lot. Then those guys' numbers are up, and then you got guys asking for more money than they're worth because of their numbers. I don't like it that way. If it's just the one guy who wins the game in a shootout that gets the goal, it doesn't affect the numbers that much. And I think the guy who wins the game with the goal kind of deserves that goal to count for his numbers.
I can kind of see that. I just don't personally. I'm just not a huge fan of that. I guess I think it should be all.
I'm not making a good enough argument to sway your opinion. That's what that means.
No.
All right. Sorry, go ahead.
The only thing I'll say is, like, say for example, in a shootout, say you have, I forget if it was Yuri Hudler, it was someone in like the the late 2000s who was really good at the shootouts. I think it was Yuri Hudler. I'll just say his name because he's on my mind.
Yeah.
Say Yuri Hudler. he had, I think he capped out at a 28 goal season, I want to say. 31 actually, sorry, but Calgary. He put up 76 points that year. Say he got five shootout goals and they counted. That boosts him to a point per game player, sure. But it really doesn't affect like your totals. Like, okay, you go from 76 to 81 points. Your point per game, but you're near point per game anyways. If anything, that maybe boosts how much you make by maybe 250, maybe 500,000, which for people like us is obviously a lot, but
okay, but if you count every goal he might have gotten in a shootout, then how many does he have?
No, but say for example it was 5. Let me see if I can find.
You're talking about 5 just shootout goals or 5 game-winning shootout goals?
No, 5 straight, just 5 shootout goals.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find actually. No, I don't want
who like Suzuki, who we've seen can score some goals. I mean, you're looking at maybe he scores 50 goals because of that. I don't like that.
That's fair. Oh, sorry. Yuri Hudler had 1 shootout attempt in that season.
Oh, well, there you go. That doesn't make much for your argument there.
Oh, Bobby Ryan in 2015-16, he made 6 shootout goals, or he had 6 shootout goals. That takes his totals from 22 goals and 56 points to 28 goals and 62 points. I can't math.
Yeah, okay, but 24 to 28 goals.
No, 22 to
28 goals. A 22 goal scorer, 28 goal scorer. It's going to make more money.
Probably, but then again, even then, teams are going to like, hey, these amount of goals on the power play.
It's not
Brendan Peary. Brendan Peary is a perfect example because that year he put up 14 goals. Sorry, I thought I had to burp. 14 goals, 29 points between Florida and Anaheim. He put up 5 shootout goals. That takes his totals to 19 goals. But the year earlier, he put up 22 goals and 2 assists. Yes, I don't know how he did that, but he did. That's always my favorite Brendan Peary stat. 22
goals and 2 assists. Wow. Harry froze.
Yeah, he put up 22 goals and 2 assists in 48 games.
That's crazy. It's weird.
Yeah. So, say, for example, his totals, he makes 5. He's basically a 20-goal scorer 2 years in a row. That probably boosts him, yes, but for a guy like Peary who is good offensively, that's fair. Good offensive players will play well in the shootout or regular play regardless. If you give them that chance, they'll play well. That's the way I see
it. In that Cole Caulfield will score 60.
Probably
more than a few times if you do that. But I don't know that that's really. I don't know. Get rid of the shootout, and then we don't have to even talk about it.
Yeah, regardless, we can agree on that. Get rid of the shootout. I'm fine with 10-minute 3-on-3. Hell, go to 1 20-minute 3-on-3 period. I'd like that.
No, I think that's much for I think that's much for a regular season game. But with 3-on-3 it goes pretty fast. It's not horrible. But I think 10 minutes is enough. Like you said, if you can't, then
if you can't score in 10 minutes of 3-on-3, especially with how many 2-on-1s there usually are, you deserve to tie.
It's a tie game. Yeah.
I will say though, in the preseason, I do like that after a game, regardless having the shootout. I do like that because it's a fun little preseason attraction that I don't mind.
Yeah, but when they get rid of the shootout, if they do, then that would go away, and that's fine with me too.
No, I think they would keep that. I think that'd be a little like, hey, here's some showcase the scores. Maybe. I think they would keep that in the preseason.
And as I said, it's not to say the shootout's not exciting because it can be.
Yeah.
But if it's not there,
look at 2010 when the Flyers needed to make the playoffs. They literally needed to win the shootout against the Rangers. It was literally winner gets in. Okay, that can be exciting.
But I'm also talking about during the shootout, like if it's a back and forth one, like. They're matching each other for either not scoring or scoring, and it goes long. It can be exciting, it can be. So it's not, but I don't know. I'd still rather not. I'd rather not have.
I hate shootouts ending in 3 rounds. I love stuff like the Rangers and whoever they face when Merrick Malik went between the legs. I love long shootouts like that.
That's what she said last night. So, all right, we're gonna move on to one of our actual topics, and that is. It was last week or in the last 7 or 8. No, 7's a week. I've in 7 to 10 days. In the last 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
Yaroslav Askarov, a goalie for Nashville at the time, he was determined to play in the NHL this season. Nashville had signed Yuri Saros to a long-term contract, and then brought in a backup goalie in Scott Wedgwood, I believe.
Scott Wedgwood, yeah, and UC Saros, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess he said he saw the writing on the wall and he was going to go to the AHL. So he gave them an ultimatum. I'm not going to the AHL. Trade me.
Yep.
They did.
Also did say that he wasn't going to report to their camp.
Yeah, he was just, I'm not, I'm just, you got to get rid of me. That's it. That's an ultimatum, which I don't like in general. So, but that's not really the point of the story. So they went about trying to trade him. And in the end, there were 3 teams interested. And the team that got him was San Jose. But then it came out a couple of days after that Montreal was one of the 2 teams. I think Philadelphia is the other one.
I think so. Philly, Montreal, and San Jose sounds right.
Yeah. So Montreal was one of the 3 teams. And the first thing when I heard that I thought of was like, why? Why would they be interested in Askarov? Now Askarov's a good goalie and everything. Thing is, you got Jacob Fowler coming. I mean, to hedge your bets on Fowler, I get Montembeault and Primo. They're not really exciting anybody, but that's a good tandem, and I like that tandem, and I think they're going to be just fine. So I thought of why would they do that, and apparently their asking price was too high, and they didn't go further than that. So, I'm going to pose that question first to you, and then I'll work off of what you say.
So I'll say this. Firstly, I was surprised by the trade of Askarov, not because we didn't see it coming, but because of who it was to and what the return was. It was to the San Jose Sharks, and in return they get actually they traded him Yaroslav Askarov with Nolan Burke and a 3rd-round pick in 2025 in exchange for goaltender Magnus Krona, which fantastic name, David Edstrom, and a conditional first in 2025. I don't remember what the condition is, but that's what the trade is. It's basically, essentially, if you will, Askarov for a first in Edstrom, and then Krona for Burke and a 3rd. Basically, if you want to put it that way.
I don't know anything about Krona.
I like Krona. He's an AHL goalie, but he can be a backup. He was thrown to the Wolves in San Jose with playing 9 games because they needed a goalie, and
that was.
They figured, hey, kid, here's your chance. Yeah.
He wasn't good. I never heard of him before, even, so I don't know.
No,
and I don't know what is it a Vegas first that they're gonna. I think it might be from.
Yes, it's Vegas's first. Yes, I believe it's Vegas's first.
So there's conditions there. It's top 10 protected. I don't think that's an issue really. Anyway. So it's
probably not. No,
probably a middle of the pack kind of first.
Yeah, and they get a guy who was barely drafted in the first round, literally barely. Edstrom was the last pick in 2023's first round.
Right, I heard that.
Yeah. So they essentially what they get is a good first round pick, basically an early 2nd, and a former 5th round pick. For me, I don't see that asking prices being too high. I think what it was is Nashville drove away Montreal and the other team, whether it's Philly or was another team, it might not be Philly, drove away the other teams, and San Jose was able to get their price down to just Edstrom the first and then the Magnus Krona and all that in there.
So they were asking for too much,
yes,
and then they settled there. Well, okay, you still want them? Okay, well, we'll take that.
I think that is what happened. And for me, I don't want to say that's the case because I love Barry Trotz. I think he's one of the smartest men in hockey today. And I don't think that he would necessarily.
Yeah, but he didn't have a choice. I mean,
I just don't think that he would have driven the price up too much, though. I think he would have known the price, but I don't think he would have driven the price up. I think it was more so they set their price and teams just weren't able to match it or they didn't want to match it. So for me, I think Montreal being in, because for me, if the price is Krona, Edstrom, and a first, essentially, this could be one of Monty or Primo, probably Primo. As much as I think he would steal starts for Monty this year, he'd probably be the more expendable goalie. We can admit.
I agree. It's probably Primo.
Yeah. So say Primo, and then let's just say, for example, Philip Mazar instead of a defensive prospect. Say it's Philip Mazar because San Jose does need a couple, or Nashville could use
No,
another
we got
forward.
defensive prospects though to get. Got defensive prospects.
Yes. Okay.
How about
say,
an Adam Engstrom? An Adam Engstrom?
Yeah, it could be Adam
Highly
Engstrom.
thought of.
As much as I wouldn't want to, let's just say Jaden Struble. Nashville likes big defensemen.
Right.
Say Jaden Struble.
Yeah.
And then say Calgary's Florida's first round pick.
Yeah.
You wouldn't match that. To me, I think the price was probably either an additional first or someone like Philip Mazar needed to be added.
Yes, the higher prospect than Montreal was willing to give up.
Yeah, I think that was the case. Now,
and they were probably holding firm on that, and then it's probably backfired for them with Montreal.
Yeah. Now to answer your question as to why would Montreal want to make this deal, for me, a goalie drafted in the first round, taken 11th overall.
11th overall.
You got to take that risk, in my opinion. Even if we do have Jacob Fowler, who I think is going to be, you could argue, better than Askarov when he makes the NHL. I'm a huge Fowler fan. I think he's going to be phenomenal when he comes to the NHL. For a guy like Askarov,
maybe you have Askarov and Fowler as your tandem going.
Exactly. Forward. You could go a literal 1A, 1B. They each get 41 games. It could work. Now, for guys who are both starting goalies, would you want them preferably playing the 50, 60 games? Obviously, but...
so going forward, I think that is the way to go, right? Is to get two guys like Boston did with Allmark and Swayman.
Yeah, a 50-30 situation.
Split starts, you know?
Yeah, basically, that's what they went with. And, yeah, I think Montreal sees that, and I think they wanted a scare-off for that. But, you know, like you said, for... basically what would have amounted to 41 games each a season, it wasn't worth giving up the moon, basically, a first.
Right.
Again, this isn't confirmed with the package. This is us speculating off what the actual package was. Primo, Struble, Mazar, and a first. That wasn't worth giving up for basically 41 games a year. And I agree. No. I'm glad that they were in, because Askarov is going to be a fantastic goalie. But I'm glad they didn't make that move for what they would probably be playing him as.
Yeah, no, okay, I get your point, and that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of what you're saying is Hughes, being a good GM, is always looking to improve everywhere that he can. So if he felt Askarov actually is better for them, especially to make the playoffs this year, then and it would be Primo. I can't see it being Monty in that. It would be Primo, who's a little more unproven. And I would think that's what it would be. Yeah, I guess I get it. He was just looking to listen. If I can make the team better, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, well, listen, yeah.
We don't know the future. We don't know the future.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no.
So a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, as they say, because that means you got that. And in Askarov, so they'd have that guy. If Fowler comes in as better, well, that's fine. You could always move Askarov.
Yeah, you could then get a return for him if you need.
Yeah. So I guess that answers the question of why they might be, because honestly, I guess I wasn't thinking creatively enough in that, and I should have thought that. But I think you might be right that it's just in the it's just in the interest of trying to make the team better.
And to be fair, it doesn't necessarily confirm that they were like heavy in on him. It might have just been a due diligence on him. Hey, what's your asking price for him?
You got to think, if Philly was the other team, they probably had more, should have had more interest.
They literally goaltending tandem,
right? They don't
have any NHL goaltenders.
No, I like Urson. I think he's going to be good. It's Fedotov, who's a little bit, you don't know. But I think Urson,
he's big. That's basically it.
Yeah,
he's a big boy.
I could see them being more interested. No, but it makes sense what you're saying, though. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, if you're not, I do like Urson. I forgot they had Urson. I'll just say this real quick before you continue. I like Urson. I just think he's better as a backup if you have a Askarov, for example.
Right. I mean, that would be why probably make more sense for Philadelphia to be more interested than Montreal. But it doesn't mean Montreal. It makes sense to me now. Actually, so you actually enlightened me, I think, and I think that kind of does make sense. That in that, if they could make the team better, if they feel Askarov actually helped them make the playoffs this year, as opposed to not making the playoffs, and something Hughes said that with the way these players are, how they're performing, how they're being Montreal Canadiens, that he owes it to them that if he can make the team better, that's his job to do that. And in that interest, it makes sense. So good. I'm glad you answered that for me. I appreciate that.
No problem. And
All right,
I'll say as well, real quick on the Flyers. I'll say this real quick.
Go ahead. Alex hopefully is listening, as
kind of reminds me of their 2005, 2006. Oh,
no, go ahead.
The Flyers. Oh, the Flyers' current goalie tandem kind of reminds me of the tandem from 05-06. They had Arturo Niittymaki and Robert Esch.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, Niittymaki. I like Niittymaki. Wasn't really meant to be a starter though. He was much more of a backup.
Yeah.
And Robert Esch had good years in Philly. Wasn't meant to be a full-time starter though. They had two backups, and it makes sense. Niittymaki played 46 games. Esch played 40. Flyers could maybe do that as well here. It's just
with better talent, hopefully. Right?
It didn't work though.
Flyers,
which is crazy.
Since I want to say, I never liked Hextall, but like since back then, and I don't know if you know who Pelly Lindbergh is, died in
rest in peace. Yeah,
right. So since that era, they have not. That's been their biggest problem is goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
They can never get NHL caliber goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
They've been horrible for that. And if they had NHL caliber goaltending over all those years, at least they'd have won. Like some of those opportunities that they had, they'd probably have won. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like it's crazy that we say this, despite the fact they were the team that started Sergei Bobrovsky's career. He was with them for his first 2 years.
When they traded him, they didn't hang on to him.
Yeah, which by the way, that return now is god awful. It was, I'm pretty sure it was his rights, but it was a second round pick and 2 fourths.
Yeah, I know it was a horrible deal for a guy that is who he is, right? Yeah. That's been their problem. They can't judge goalies.
Yeah, exactly. And like the trade looked awful right away because his first year in Columbus, he wins the Vezina.
Right, exactly, right?
Yeah, so like, and goalies are unpredictable. He then went.
Since back then, I don't know what they're not a good judge of the goalies that they sign. It's horrible. But it's been. I mean,
they saw the talent with Bob and signed him. That was a good move. But then just they trade him. It's like they get good goaltenders and then they trade him. Or Carter Hart does what he does, and he's a Flyer.
I hate bringing up his name though.
Yeah, but like they'll have good goaltenders, and something happens. Like we
gotta find a name for him, so we don't actually have to say his name.
Charter flight. Why? Charter flight.
KHL future goalie. Didn't one or two of those guys go to the KHL?
They did, yeah. I forget who it was, but I know a couple of those guys did, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Dylan Dubé and somebody else, I think, went to the KHL. And I think Hart wants to go there.
Yeah, he does. I think he's just waiting to get his holes resized.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he needs to get. Okay, so let's move on from that because we don't need to go there. So we're going to talk about our main subject now.
Yeah.
And that is prospect pools. And as I explained earlier, that Montreal, in this article that I've come across 2 days ago, I guess, by Stephen Ellis. He's a writer for Daily Faceoff. And he's out on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter. Never interacted, though. But I've been following him for a while. He does a lot of hockey card stuff and stuff like that. So he's put out, a ranking of the prospect pools. Montreal came in second, just behind San Jose. And let's talk about how we feel about that. We'll talk about I guess I'll read the list of who our prospects are that I have. I should have written up a list. What I have here, though, is the Canadians, the prospects in the system, it says. Now, they're not all great, and some of the new ones aren't in here, but it's a good prospect pool. And I'll just go over what I'm seeing here, and then you try to fill in what I haven't, and we'll try to fill in what's not here. Some of these guys, though, like I had someone tell me, Lucas Candata, like, okay, for depth, but he's not a prospect, really.
Yeah, sorry. No, I think he's like 23 or 24 now.
He was born in 97, so he's older, yes. All right, so on the prospect pool, we got, should I show this on screen?
I think if you want to.
Yeah, okay, let me present it. Give me a second, everybody.
No problem.
See, I've got two of them open, same thing, same heading. Which one is it? Hang on. Let's see if I can see my. No, it must be this one. It's because I have the pay, but two different reasons to have it open. I don't know which one. I'm going to share this one. If it's wrong, I'll redo it. Nope, wrong one. Figured I got the wrong one. Give me a sec. At least now I know which one. If I can remember which one I shared and not which one. This one. I'm going to do the wrong one. I know I'm going to do the wrong one. Yep.
Yeah. While Rick's setting that up, I'll say Montreal's prospect pool. I'm very high on. There's guys here. I'm not going to mention any names until Rick's all ready and he's got his stuff figured out. But there's guys I'm huge on. I think that Montreal, especially in the last 2-3 years of Marc Bergevin into the Hughes and Gordon era, they've been fantastic. They've for those of you who are just listening on Spotify and can't see this, Rick has opened the same wrong tab 3 times in a row.
No, this is the right one. Owen Beck is there. I got the right one this time.
Oh, okay, yeah, you got
twice.
The right one
only twice, okay?
Yeah, sorry, only twice. It's because it's from the. They're both from the Canadiens website, so the layouts are the same. I just didn't see what they were. So Rick did get it right the third time.
Yeah.
All right.
3 strikes and you're out. Hey, come on.
All right, so we got it ready.
Oh, I thought you were still telling the story.
Oh no, but I was, but yeah, no, those guys I'm high on. I think that since the last 3 years of Bergevin and into the Hugo era, the Habs have had fantastic scouting. They've had fantastic drafting, fantastic trade.
Yep. He'll come out of that in a sec.
I'd be hard pressed to find a trade that the Canadiens have lost in the last 5-6 years. And even further, even harder to find trades where we flat out get fleeced and are horrible. I'm a huge fan of this regime.
Can't totally remember all of Bergevin's trades in the last 2 years, but
yeah, no, you'd have to find those on Trade Tracker.
Of the management, the current management, Hughes, I don't think has lost on a deal yet. So
not at all. No,
I mean, if he hasn't flat out fleeced them.
Yeah, it's more so a win-win, if anything.
That's it. Even or he's won the trade. Yep. All right, so let's look at the guys that are here on. So this is in the system. So it's on their website. You go to team, and then it says roster or in the system. This is in the system. Owen Beck. These are guys I think have a shot. Sean Farrell. Emil Heineman, Oliver Kapanen. I kind of think Kidney's on the outs. Philip Machar.
Shout out Cappy.
Vincenz Rohrer, a bottom 6 guy. I think he's got a shot. Not this year, but down the road.
Vincenz Rohrer, yeah.
What?
Yeah, down the road, he's much more of a fourth-line center. He's
Joshua Roy. I think Tyson Milanic, I think he left the organization.
I think so.
Yeah, he did. I think he left over the offseason. Luke Tuck, I think he's got a shot somewhere. Florian Jacki, definitely.
Potentially this year.
Nate, you never know with a Jacki.
Yeah,
defense, Adam Engstrom's a good one. Bogdan, I don't know enough, but from what I hear, could be
good bottom pair guy in the future, I think.
I don't know anything about this next guy, Kostenko.
But he's a Russian defenseman, so you got to keep an eye on him. For some reason, Russia produces fantastic defensemen.
That's it. I don't know, though. Logan Mailloux probably make it this year. David Reinbacher. Luke Middlestad, I don't know.
Brother to Casey?
I know his brother, but I don't know anything about him in particular. Another Russian, Sobolov, don't know. Jaden Struble. William Trudeau has an outside chance. Goalies. Jacob Dobish, for sure. Jacob Fowler. And I thought that Volokin might be something from what I
Yevgeny Volholkin, he played really well in the VHL, not the MHL, but
No, but Treg was really Treg Wilson was really talking highly of this kid. So So these are the prospects. They're really good ones. I mean, you might not have heard of some of them, I guess, but Montreal's got a really good prospect pool. Plus, you add into that guys from this year, Michael Hage, you got Ados Koivu, of course, Demidov. I mean, of course. But then, if you watched that little thing they had out behind the scenes at the draft, did you see that? That came out, and they were talking about the players and the interviews.
Oh, the yearly behind the scenes
from the combine. They just put it out.
Oh, from combine, no.
It's on their YouTube channel. You should go check that out because you then find out some interesting things about Logan Sawyer. Very highly thought of. Like they're really.
I might have seen that then because I think I recognize that.
Yeah, they're really high on Logan Sawyer. They're really high on
and Protz.
Protz, yeah, those two guys from the rest of. Also, Kanin from Russia. Apparently, skills off the charts.
Yeah, Makar Kanan. Yeah. 7th round pick.
And even the goalie that they drafted, one of the scouts was really high on him. So it's some interesting things about their prospects, which is the reason why that prospect pool is right up there. I don't think we have to look at these guys anymore. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we switched spots. Look at that. It's just we've got a prospect pool that is going to graduate good players to the Montreal Canadiens and also supply really good depth when guys get injured and stuff like that, right? So let me read what Stephen Ellis says about Montreal's prospect pool.
All right.
It's been a tough few years since the Canadiens made the Stanley Cup final in 2021, but better days are coming. Ivan Demidov is a future top-line winger. They've got as much defensive depth as anyone. They've also got a high-end goalie prospect in Jacob Fowler. It's seriously an exciting time to be a fan of this group, especially with all the young talent that they've got on the roster already. Yaroslav Askarov, Kirby Dach, Cole Caulfield, Alex Newhook, Caden Gooley, Arbor Jacki are all 23 or younger, and Captain Nick Suzuki is just 25. And Line is only 26. With a group that young and so skilled already, it's only a matter of time until everything starts to click. Yeah, I mean, it's great. And, got Lane Hudson. Mm-hmm. How did we not mention him yet? Was he mentioned in there? No.
No, he wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're adding Lane Hudson. He'll graduate this year, I think, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Out of camp. I don't think he spends a second in Laval, personally.
I mean, technically he will, because he'll probably paper transaction get sent down for Price.
Yeah, on the ice. He won't spend a second.
Yeah, no, on the ice. Yeah, no.
Unless
he'll probably spend 2 minutes.
Unless there's an injury where he needs to rehab down on the mind. Like that's, I think other than that, he
like Price and Gallagher when they came back in 2020. I think they both played one game in Laval and then came back.
Exactly what happened.
Which, by the way, very weird. If you guys see Price in a Laval Rocket jersey, it looks uncanny. I looked that up the other day.
About that, him and Primo switched numbers.
Oh yeah, because Primo was 31, I think, in the minors, right?
In the minors, 30 here, and Price had to wear 30 in the minors.
Yeah, because Primo was here. 31.
So that was one of those little fun fact. Fun fact.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it's a great prospect pool. There's no doubt. They're going to graduate a bunch of these guys, and even some that won't, they'll be graduated to other teams in trades, right? And they'll make like this is a talented group of players. Yeah, we didn't even mention Jacob Dobish as far as he should have. It's not just Jacob Fowler. Jacob Dobish is very highly thought of, and that guy in Russia, so even without and even without maybe adding an Askarov that they were thinking of, it's a great group of players.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I just said I'm high on a lot of these guys. Of course, Lane Hudson, David Reinbacher. I'm personally very high on someone we didn't mention, but was drafted this past year, Tyler Thorpe. I've gone back and watched a couple of highlights of his in Vancouver.
Yep.
This is a big son of a bitch. 6'4", 209 pounds. God, if this guy makes the team on the fourth line, for example, with Jacki, with Florian, And then you've got Owen Protz and Arbor on the blue line with maybe a Struble. I think he might be a trade asset, unfortunately, Struble. But
you never know. You never know. And you know something interesting that I did pick out? I had heard their theory or their philosophy for the draft is every pick they want to hit a home run.
Yep.
So when they're sitting around the table talking, and I don't remember which round it was. It might have been Sawyer they were talking about. But they were saying, okay, so for that round, who's the home run? Yeah. That's how they look at it, right? So it's not a joke. That's how they look at the seriousness of every single round, who they pick there.
And I love that.
Now, they won't all hit, but you know what? When you take it that seriously, when you do your research, when you do all of that, you're going to hit more than you're going to miss.
Yep. Especially if you have guys like Nick Bobroff there. Like, oh, my God.
You're going to hit more than you're going to miss. And that's, that's how you maintain, what they said. They want to be contenders for as long as they can, 10 years or more. And that's how you do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I see, really, it's the only way I think in the salary cap era, it's literally like the only way that you can do that and maintain an even flow. Because if you're going with free agents and all that, it's hard to manage the cap.
Yep.
Because you need that influx of these young guys that are making nothing on their ELC, really. And you need that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you're going to need a guy like Tyler Thorpe who could maybe Tyler Thorpe, not Thorpe. Tyler Thorpe.
You like to say, I don't know where you got that from, but man, you like to say
it's the E at the end. It's the E at the end that throws me off. But Tyler Thorpe, you need a guy like him where, say, for example, I'm trying to think of a guy who's on a third line. Say Sean Farrell, for example. Say for some reason after his ELC, say he has a good year, he explodes, he wants $7 million. I don't know why he would, but say he wants $7 million, we let him go. You need a guy like Thorpe who can then come in, replace him, be useful in that role. You're going to need a constant revolving wheel of talent for your bottom six. The top six can stay the same. Your bottom six is what can constantly be changing, and that works. Your top four on the blue line is what you need. That bottom pair can be rotating, but when you have Arbor Jack guy, you're not going to be rotating.
You're going to have a lot more movement on that bottom six.
Yeah.
In and out of the lineup, like that kind of stuff. Your top six, if you're a good team and you want to be a championship team, that top six shouldn't be like varied all the time, right? It should be pretty solid and consistent,
Yeah, especially as the guys grow together, they get chemistry. They're going to be playing even better.
It's not that they can't play like with other guys, but I mean, you really want to be. You want that top six to be consistent for, year after year. Like, that's the best way to be,
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, my opinion on that. I wanted to, I don't know. Do you want to add anything to the prospect pool? Do you want to look at some other ones?
Yeah, I'm down to look at a couple others. I mean, I'm interested in where two teams are located, Buffalo and Florida.
Okay, so I'm going to put it up in a second.
Yeah, because I know Buffalo, they've got a solid pool of guys, and I really like what they've got for the future. In Florida, I don't know how I see their prospect pool. I'm assuming it's probably going to be bottom half, just because a lot of the guys they've traded out to win. But
right. Well, isn't that the price you pay, right? Usually when you're
a Stanley Cup,
team, especially like I'm saying, right? If you don't draft well. So you have that influx, and so you're always making trades and all that stuff, right? It's hard when you've been at the top and you're on the way down to have a great prospect pool because, first of all, you're not drafting very high, right?
Yeah,
so, like
very rarely drafting at all.
No, but or if you're moving picks to get guys in to help to win,
like Tampa.
Yeah, so it's really important to have the picks, and whatever picks you do have. To hit that home run, it doesn't matter what round, right?
Yeah, Detroit in the 90s and 2000s were infamous for that. Always picking gems.
Not what 90s and 2000s?
Yeah, the Red Wings. They were even going back to the 80s.
I thought you were saying Habs. I'm going. Wait, I remember the opposite.
No. Yeah, the Habs. It was the 70s and the 80s. They were pretty damn good.
By the 90s, there were dogs we were picking.
Yeah. Shout out Terry Ryan.
Yeah, I love the guy, really, but
yeah, great guy, but hockey player, maybe not the greatest.
Great on.
Would have preferred Jerome McGinley.
Yeah, right. Yeah, not a Jerome McGinley. No. All right, so we'll look at this project. So he leads off with the Sharks, and I think that's fair. He brings them up from 10th last season. They moved up to first for him. So, there's a lot. And now you got Askarov there. So there's a lot of good players. You got Dickinson, coming in on defense. They moved up. Like, I thought they would be bad for years. But you know what?
They're going to be good in 3 years, I think.
Yeah, they've moved up their rebuild, like, big time.
Oh, yeah. Mike Giron from being one of the worst GMs in the NHL to, like, you know what? He's pretty respectable.
You know what? I thought it'd be a disaster. Who is this guy to be? He's done a good job.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, there's a couple of trades he's made where it's like, why would you trade a second? Why would you get a second round pick? Or why would you trade for a, like...
Some of the things I saw, I agree. Like, I couldn't figure out what he was doing. Seemed like he had a plan.
Yeah, he does. You
got to give him props for that.
Absolutely. The Askarov trade, of course. Dickinson, I think that's a phenomenal move for the Sharks. He's going to be a great one D. Love Sam Dickinson.
Yep. I think that's a good pick for them.
Yeah.
All right. Anaheim stays in third. They didn't move anywhere. We all know who Anaheim. I mean, they don't need to go over everybody there. Yeah. Columbus also stays in fourth. The only thing to add there is Caden Lindstrom. I don't know if anybody saw that. Back was an issue before the draft. Was one of the reasons I did not want them to draft him. And they wouldn't have got the opportunity because he went fourth. But he's been held out, I think, of initial part of training camp because of the back. So, and we don't know. It's like indefinite, I guess. So, that could be an issue going forward as we thought. Yeah. But they've got a good prospect pool.
Yeah, and I will say one guy that I'm glad got to mention here is Stanislav Slovil. I think that is a dark horse for a top 4 spot. I'm a huge Slovil fan from his time in, I forget, Slovakia, wherever he was. Big fan of his. I think he's got great potential for a top 4 spot in the next couple of years.
Never even heard of him before.
Yeah, no, I think he was a 3rd round pick, I think. I wanted Montreal to draft him
Columbus,
that year. Yeah, for Columbus, where it says Juracek and Matinchuk are both high-end options, while Charlie Elick and Stanislav Slovil could both find spots.
Oh, there it is. I got it. I see it. Okay.
Yeah. He was a very early 3rd round pick. I wanted them to draft him when they picked Kidney and Kapanen. I wanted Slovil, but then we went Kidney, which Kapanen, great pick though. But yeah, Riley Kidney, kind of lost in the shuffle at this point.
Yeah, like Farrell. To me, Sean Farrell, same thing.
Yeah, I mean, guys that still could make it, just their chances are getting a little muddied.
But it's going to happen. I mean, you're going to have those guys every year, and there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, I think those are those guys. Not that they can't make it elsewhere, but I think here they're not going to.
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Detroit, 5th best. Moved up from 7th, according to him.
I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think the Red Wings are stuck
at the top. Those are good prospects. I don't know I don't know what they've got in the system though.
Aside from that, it's really like Marco Kasper. He might be a 3rd line center. Nate Danielson. I see him capping at a 3rd line center. He was picked 10th overall, I think, 2 years ago. They picked Sebastian Cossa 18th overall, something like that. Or no, I think they picked him. No, it was him and Wallstead. They picked him 18th overall when they could have had Jesper Wallstead, and then they drafted Troy Agustin to replace Sebastian Cossa as the future starter. Yeah. Red Wings don't have a plan in my book. I don't see that.
The Yzer plan, something went wrong.
Yeah, well, firstly, him going to Detroit first of all was an issue.
I don't know. I think the Yzer plan is on meth or something because it's kind of that kind of decision. There's some weird. I'm not saying Steve Yzerman does meth, so please don't come at me.
No, it's a joke. Don't be so sensitive.
Something's, I don't know. It started out well.
Shot $4 million a year.
Started out well though, and then I don't know. It sidetracked a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and now it's like I think he's on thin ice. I think it's just not coming out, but I think he's on thin ice.
Right? If they don't do something, like if this year is what I think with Detroit, like they're gonna finish under Montreal. You got to think his job gotta be getting on thin ice.
Oh yeah, you gotta think he's gonna make a desperate move at the deadline, probably, or at the draft.
Yeah, he's gonna be at that point where a GM knows that the writing's on the wall, makes crazy, stupid moves. Though.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
So after that,
no, I don't.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I don't agree with Detroit being this high though. I will say that. Minnesota though, I'm somewhat high on Minnesota. Of course, Jesper Wallstedt, I think he's gonna be a future top 5 goalie. Love them picking up Aaron Kiviharju in the 4th round. That was a massive steal.
And then Bouillon along with that, then that's a good pickup right there too.
Yeah, Bouillon's gonna be a good top 4D. Yeah.
I mean they're coming along. They dropped though one spot according to him, so that's interesting. But I mean, it's still, you're up in the top there.
Yeah,
you got
still one of the best.
Cool. Here's the interesting: Chicago dropped from 1st last year down to 7th. Is that
because Bedard?
Because
Bedard and Korchinski both retired. Or not retired.
No, Korchinski and Bedard both. Yeah. And that's really probably what it is. Even though they added Levshinov, and who was their other pick? Oh
God, I can't remember. Give me a second.
I can't remember the name either. What is that? Anyway,
they picked Marek Vanacker.
Oh, is that who it was? I thought it was somebody else. Okay, so
Sasha Bozvert.
It's mostly because Bedard and Korchinski graduated.
Yeah, but they've still got a very good
still
Levshinov gonna be definitely great.
It's not like it's a bad one, right? It's in the top 3.
No, they've got guys.
So there you go. There's one that you got answered there. Buffalo, he's dropped him to 8th from 2nd. I wonder why. I don't know. Sabres were quite active this summer, but nothing was more surprising than when they traded top prospect Matthew Savoie.
That's probably why.
We were talking about it in Pucking Around last night because we did the Atlantic Division. And that was when we got to Buffalo. That was brought up that was a surprise in getting rid of Savoie.
I will say Ryan McLeod is a good 3rd-line guy. I'm very high on Tyler Tullio. I saw him in Oshawa when he was playing there. I obviously didn't watch him live, but I've seen games of his. I'm really high on Ty Tullio.
Well, he'll have to be good to turn that around then, the loss of Savoie.
Oh yeah. I think he's going to be a good 3rd-line guy. I'll say this is. I think it's a good trade for both teams. I think they did get too little from Edmonton. I think if they had gotten a D prospect and another forward prospect, it would have been a lot better. I get why they made the deal though. Savoie kind of doesn't fit into their top 6. McLeod and Tullio are both probable 3rd-line guys, especially Tullio for the future. I get why they made the deal.
Not me.
It's like the Joe Thornton trade, but it's like it in the sense that they know what they have at their 1st and 2nd-line center, and they have an extra guy that they can trade, and they get kind of depth is what they ended up acquiring.
I get it. So okay, I get that, but I mean, still, where do you think they'll finish?
Yeah, and then Devin Levi, of course. Sorry,
where do you think they'll finish this year in the division?
I'm torn because I love Lindy Ruff as a coach. I think he's going to work very well with the young team.
Yikes.
But at the same time, it's the Sabres, and last year everyone thought they were going to finish well, and they didn't, especially after missing the playoffs by 1 point the year before because of Michael Pezzetta.
But it's honestly the same thing every year. Honestly, what?
Honestly, I think this is the year they break through. I think they're going to be in the playoff race. I think they're going to make the playoffs. Now, of course, I think Tampa and Boston both probably fall out, if not at least one of them, probably Tampa.
Not Boston. Tampa might, I think,
Yeah.
Boston.
But I think Buffalo ends up making it. I think Buffalo and Montreal are the teams that get in, and it's probably Tampa falls off, and then there's another team that just surprisingly drops.
Oh, that's a bold prediction there. I am the opposite of you. I think Buffalo comes in and finishes in 8th in the division. I think that's where I have either 7th or 8th. I'm not sure if it's 7th or 8th, but at the bottom.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't. They listen every year. Buffalo look great for the first 2 months and then drop right the fuck out. right?
That's usually.
Yeah, so maybe you're right. Maybe this is the year. They do have a great defense, young defense that's going to be great.
Yes, they do.
No doubt about that. And they got some good pieces there, but it doesn't matter. And Lindy Ruff, to me, I don't get that. I don't get that.
Both times he's coached Buffalo before, he's been really good at them. I think it's a system that he really works well in, and I
don't get it. No,
rehired him again.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't work for me, but I could be wrong. 9th, Seattle. Let's go. Let's just move through these because we're already over an hour. Oh,
that's fair.
10th. So the former Coyotes. Utah made some good picks at the draft.
Yeah,
and
especially
Chev and all that. But that's not. But no, they made some good picks. I mean, picking Iginla, who, if you watch this thing I'm talking about, where they from the combine, they don't say any players' names that aren't players that they actually picked. But they're talking about who to pick between Demidov and Iginla. So if Demidov's not there, who's the other guy? They're talking about Iginla without a doubt in my mind.
Come on, yeah, like right? They're talking about. Iginla for a second, I was like, oh, maybe Seneca, but it's like, no, there's no way it'd be Seneca.
To me, Iginla was going to be the pick.
Yeah, you got to think if it wasn't Demidov, it was probably
because they described him for a second, like Demidov, and then the winger that he gets over the line, he makes all kinds of stuff.
Like he focuses more a lot on shooting. It's like, that's exactly
that's Iginla they were talking about. So I wasn't that far wrong when I was first on that and saying I got feeling it was Iginla. He was their guy because they did not think Demidov would drop.
No,
but I'm happy we got Demidov. Yeah, I'm happy with Demidov. Very happy with Demidov at this point.
Absolutely.
Kid's going to be good. He's proving it. Remember everybody talking about he hasn't played KHL time yet, right? Well, guess what he's doing now? He's playing against KHL guys, and he's
playing pretty well.
Just fine. And in my opinion, and it's not to start up that, but
yeah, come on, do it, Rick, do it.
He's going to put up more points than Michkov did last year.
Yes, sir.
And then that conversation that we don't have to hear about Michkov is better. They're both going to be good. And I think Demidov is going to be better, but they're both going to be good. I'm happy with the one we got, though.
To Alex, on the off chance that he's watching this and listening this far, if Demidov, when Demidov puts up more points than Michkov, I better hear you saying Demidov caps as a franchise player.
True, or whatever he said about Michkov, because if Demidov equals or surpasses, and I think he'll surpass, then I agree, he has to. That's if he play. If they don't send him down, I don't see how you do. He's playing so good. He's captaining the U20 team in this little tournament, playing against other KHL teams. Yeah, you can't. You can't send him down. If they do,
I will say,
if they do, it's because they don't want to develop him because he's coming here next year.
Maybe. I will say that I don't think they send him down. I think they'll loan him to Sochi like they did last year for a couple games.
They can't.
Oh, they can't loan him this year?
No, there's a rule in the KHL that when you're in your last season of your contract, you can't be loaned.
That sucks. That I don't like that.
It's KHL, so
trade him. Trade his rights. His KHL rights.
All right, let's go.
We required Ivan Demidov KHL rights for a third round for a sandwich.
Well, if he doesn't play with them, I hope they try to get him here to the AHL. He doesn't want to come here yet, right? According to him, he's not ready.
Yeah, he said he does. He's not NHL ready yet.
Yeah. Not yet. But he's spoke.
Which I do like that. I like he acknowges.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm glad he has that self-awareness
and the commitment to the contract that he signed.
Yeah, it shows honor.
Hopefully, they'll have the same commitment to him. I don't know if that'll be.
Hopefully, yeah.
But I don't know. Okay, this one's okay. Carolina, fuck Carolina, St. Louis from 16 to 12.
I think they're a little high. I like Dalibor Dvorsky. Jimmy Snuggerud's kind of shaky though right now, I will say.
Yeah, I mean that might be a little bit high. Nashville with the 11. I don't know who's in these guys' pools.
I like Tanner Mollendijk. I think Joachim Kamel is going to be very good. So same with Matthew Wood. I'd say slightly too high though. I'd probably have him more around 16.
And they dropped him from 11th to 13th.
Yeah. So I'll say just off the draft, I think that's fair then, actually.
Rangers 14th. Fuck the Rangers.
Ooh, aside from Perot and Ottman, I don't know how much they have. I don't know how much they have. I think they moved them up too much.
I think the guy they got listed there, EJ Emery. I don't know. From what I read, I think he might be overrated, and he was picked mostly because of his size.
Yeah,
mostly because of how big he is. That's what I kind of read, and I don't know enough about him other than that. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Calgary surprising me that. Yeah, I guess. Well, they're just starting.
They should be higher.
Okay, but they're just starting in their rebuild, really. So maybe Philly drops. Well, that's because Michkov graduated. No, but that's Michkov graduated.
No, he didn't. Notable prospects, Matvei Michkov.
True.
It's because they lost Cutter Gauthier, apparently.
Well, true. No, you take Gauthier out of that. High draft pick, young kid. No, you take him out of that. That's an effect. Plus, they drafted Luchenko in first round. I mean, that can't raise you up.
I mean, drafting Luchenko in the first round wasn't the issue. It was how high he was drafted.
Okay, no, that's what I mean. Where they were.
Consta Hellenius, Cole Eiserman. Now let's go.
Yeah,
Jet Luchenko.
I'm sorry. Now he could prove us wrong in the future.
Yeah, of course.
Not going into this. So there. Winnipeg is next at 17th. I mean, that's surprising. They've been pretty good for a while. So some of these teams now, they've been good for a while, so they're not going to have great prospect pools.
Dallas at 18 is a shocker. I get that Stankoven is going to make the NHL this year, probably same with Maverick Bourque, but they're still prospects now. I think I'd argue they should be higher. Switch them and the Rangers, I think.
But that might be all that's there.
But I mean, they still got young guys like Robertson and whatnot, and they might be trading for Nick Robertson.
I don't know.
I think they've got good guys. I think they've got a fantastic scouting department too in Dallas.
I don't know enough to argue back. You could be right.
That's right. Capitals, that's fair. They're just starting their rebuild. Yeah, they've got good guys, but
I think that's probably fair. Yeah. Vancouver 20th. I mean,
that's fair. Again, they're starting to
drafting. They're drafting high in the late in the first round. The Devils.
Yeah,
still 21st.
They've had a couple guys I think graduate, and like Simon Nemec, Holtz and
all right, okay,
and Luke Hughes.
Simon Nemec and Holtz coming. Yeah, and Nico. Okay, that makes sense. If these guys just came out of the prospect pool, you're gonna drop.
Because keep in mind they're not just adding guys; they're also taking a lot of guys out. So I completely get that. Yeah,
you're gonna drop. 22 for LA.
Yeah, I kind of get that. Turcotte at this point, I don't think he even can be considered a prospect. He's played 4 years in the A.
Yeah, no, I don't. If he hasn't made it yet, I mean, Caulfield made it, and what's his name has made it, right?
Yeah,
I know
what you're talking about.
Segrist, right?
Segrist,
weren't they all
they were teammates? They were on that line. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so he's the guy that didn't make it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, to be fair, maybe it's the Kings organization. Maybe he works elsewhere,
or maybe he's more like he's a bottom six guy. He'll catch on with some other team, but he's not a top sixer, obviously.
Yeah, I think I think he will be a good bottom six guy eventually.
Probably what he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Toronto in 23rd, up 1 from 24th.
I understand moving them up 1. They had an okay pick, not a great one, but you kind of have
that's
to.
It. I get their prospect pool sucks.
No, it's not good. Pittsburgh as well. I like moving them up for Rucker McGroarty, but they're just starting their rebuild as well. I'd argue they should actually be 29th.
But getting Rutger McGroarty, that's good. That helps them move up. I mean, that's a good that's a good trade to acquire that guy.
Yeah, that is good.
Islanders up from 31st to 25.
Yeah, I think the Islanders. Yeah.
But there you go. Florida up to
that's fair. They got cool. Hey, let's go. Yeah. And they're probably going to lower back down to 29 because Maki Semikevic is probably going to make the team out of camp. So
that's
so he's probably going to be gone.
Yeah, no, that's next year, and you never know what kind of draft they have and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Colorado at 27.
Ooh.
What?
They don't list Kovalenko. That's a bit of a yikes.
Who's Kovalenko? Who? I don't know the guy.
Nikolai Kovalenko. He's projected to make the team out of camp. He's still a rookie. He's a prospect.
Oh, maybe they mentioned him in here.
Yeah, I'm trying to look, and no. Wow, they don't. That one's surprising.
Yeah. I wonder what that is about. Oh, maybe he just missed on him, or
maybe. I mean, to be fair, he has to look at 32 teams. I completely get if he just missed the guy, but yeah.
Or maybe he knows something we don't know.
Maybe.
Vegas at 28th, up from down from 26th.
Probably should be 31st, honestly.
Yeah, that's good. I'm good. Oilers at 29th, down from 25th.
After getting Matt Savoy?
Yeah, after getting Savoy.
Like, I get Ty Tullio's good, but like also shout out Bo Akey. I love the name.
They're not really saying why.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they get Robbie Gerventi. He's not good, but like,
yeah. Ottawa 30th, down from 27th. Even imagine. So what does that say? Like, how bad is their prospect?
Oh my god,
there isn't much high end talent to get excited about, and it's not like surprising to Sens fans. There's a legit chance that at least 5 to 6 of these players will earn some NHL time over the next 2 years. But how many will be long-term contributors? I know you didn't
like roasting,
right? You didn't like Yakimchuk, am I correct?
I didn't like where he was projected to get picked. With the Sens, I think they picked him too high. I think if he was more of a 12 to 14 guy, he would have been good. But I think he'll be okay.
Right.
I'm big on Matt Sogard, though, by the way. I think he's going to be a good starter in a couple years. I really like Soggy.
Anyways, there and Boston with the 34th.
Yeah.
They got nothing down there. They really don't have much down there.
I'd maybe swap Boston and Tampa. I think getting Connor Geekie. I don't know. No, Geekie's really kind of all they have. I'd actually flip maybe Boston and Ottawa. I think Dean Letourneau is going to be great. Lysell, I kind of get, but Mason Lohrei should be pretty good. Like
Lohrei, I like Lohrei, and I think you're right. I think Letourneau was a good pick, but I mean, there's no guarantee with a guy like that. So, yeah, I guess they got a lot of work to do though. Once their window's closed.
Oh yeah,
Camming not going to be a happy camper for a number of years.
No, he's not.
And then Tampa, it's no surprise they traded everything away.
Yeah, and all they got back was Connor Geekie.
All their picks, they just traded picks. I'm surprised.
Yeah, trade picks. They trade their prospects, and
it's an empty. They got a lot of work. A lot of work to do.
Yeah, I will say with that Sergachev trade, I think they're slowly starting to realize they do need to get into a rebuild, and I think they're going to be there in 2 years. I think they kind of go for a potential.
Rebuild can like they do
that
2 years.
That one last, I think they go for that one last trying to get into the playoffs, and then.
Oh, you mean they won't try to rebuild for 2 years?
No. I think for this year they won't. I don't think they'll go full hardcore, but I think it'll be like, hey, can we do it? And then if they don't get in the playoffs, then I think they fully just go into the.
Look at the guys they lost, right? I mean, if you let
Stamkos,
literally walk
Sergachev.
away. Right,
Yep.
They let a lot of guys go. I don't think they got back enough this year. So yeah, but I mean, as a prospect pool, they've been at the top of the league for so long,
for a decade, basically.
And then the picks that they were trading their picks to fill holes so that they can continue to contend.
Yeah, and as well, like to show how good Tampa's depth is. Like this is a team that had Jonathan Marchessault. And just let him walk, and they're perfectly fine without him. Granted, he wasn't doing much with them, but like still, like Jonathan Marchessault, dude just put up 40 goals and 70 points. Like that's a guy they could have had, and they let him go, and they're perfectly fine without him. That's how good their depth is, or was at the time, I should say.
The GM was good at filling the holes.
Yeah. Yzerman was good, yeah.
But I mean, that only goes for so many years, and then
and then you got to start trying to adapt to the rebuild and such, and
you got to, or else like you really, because you got nothing in the cupboard.
Exactly, yeah. Like I mean, with Yzerman, he was good at.
Yeah, I forgot. That's where Yzerman was assistant GM, right?
Sorry,
Yzerman was assistant GM there, right?
No, Yzerman was the GM from, I want to say 2011-ish to 2019. Right after they lost that Columbus series, then Julian Breezeball, I think, was the guy who took over.
Yeah, Julian Breezeball took over from Yzerman.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You remember. That's right. And with your boy there, Drouin.
Yeah.
That negotiation that was with Yzerman.
Yeah, it was. I remember that. Yeah, it was Yzerman. And he did a good job spotting the talent that he wanted from Montreal. And then Breezeball did a good job scouting the talent he wanted from Arizona for Sergachev.
Yeah, they just, like I said, they always seem to trade away draft picks to fill holes. And then, Tanner Jeannot, 5 draft picks went. So, so their cupboard is empty. I mean, it literally has to be. So, like, how long, once they fall out, boy, that's going to be a while till they get back in, don't you think?
Probably. I mean, hopefully. Obviously, as fans of a team that was a victim of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah. But, I can't see these guys making that, like we said, San Jose kind of really I can't see Tampa doing that quickly. They have nothing.
No, not at all.
They're like,
especially considering nothing. Yeah, especially considering they don't have their first, second, or third round picks this year. They do have Utah and LA seconds, though. They kind of have to go for the playoffs this year. And then I will give them this. 2016 onwards, they have all their picks except the 2027 fifth, which, oh no, they don't have a fifth. They have all their picks after this year.
Okay, I thought you said 2016. You said 2016 onward.
No, 2027 fifth. From 2026 onwards, they have all their picks.
2026, okay. I misheard you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then that's how. That's when the rebuild's going to start.
Probably, yeah. Like I said, that's why I said I think this year they'll try. Okay, well, points possibly gone. The Hedman can't be gone because he just signed an 8-year extension, but they're probably going to get rid of some of their guys.
That Hedman extension, you got to think
already not looking good.
Can't look good for the whole term of that.
No,
he's got to be 34, 35, 36.
It kicks him when he's 34. Oh, so actually, to be fair, it's not a whole. Yeah, he's 33 now. Kicks him next year when he's 34. To be fair, I actually thought it was an 8-year deal. It's only a 4-year deal, so it's not going to be gone off.
Oh, no, that changes it. No, that changes it. Only a 4-year deal. That's not so bad.
Yeah, no, I thought it was an 8-year deal too because I'm so used to old dudes getting.
I know. That's why I assumed right away it's a long-term deal.
Yeah.
No, 4 years.
It is. It's a medium-term deal. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, it'll be maybe that last year will be like, oh no, he's a top 4D instead of a.
All right, you're lagging a bit there, but since we're at the end here, we've gone actually long enough there. All right, so we sidetracked a little bit there. Hope you guys didn't mind that, but we went over all the prospect pools, so that's that was interesting. All right, so we're gonna call it a night. This is this show ends the summer schedule, so we'll be back next week and every week thereafter until Matt and Harry say, hey, Rick, we can't be there this week. And then it'll happen where we won't have a week. But so the summer schedule is over. We're going to gear up for the season that is fast approaching because we're only what? When does camp open? 13th? No.
Something like the 20th,
the 18th, maybe? Something like that, 17th, 18th? So camp is opening soon. 3 weeks away at the most.
Yeah, about that. The most teams are opening about the 18th and 19th, it looks like.
You're right. So there we go. 2.5 weeks away, basically, 3 weeks.
Yep.
And training camp opens. First Habs preseason game is on the 23rd of September.
Woo!
And this now that's an interesting problem, though. Because I am directing the Flyers podcast at 6:30 live on the other channel.
Ooh.
That night, we have our Pucking Around podcast right after that night, and it's the first preseason game. So I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I don't want to miss any of it. So I'm not sure if the first preseason game is going to be on here or not. I may just be able to do the first period, but I'll do that if I can. And we'll see. But preseason starts on the 23rd, and the first game of the season, I want to say, is the 13th of October, or the 9th.
The 9th of October, yeah.
9th of October. So we're that, it's not that far away. So, we're gearing up. So hopefully you guys will stick with us, and, we'll have some guests. We'll keep up to date on what's going on with the Habs, how they're performing. We'll do our week in review, look back at last week, look at next week, that kind of thing like we did last year. So that's it. Thank everybody that has stuck through this hour and a half. Sorry it was so long. Thank you for being here. We always love having you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section. What did you think of anything we said here tonight? You're free to comment on that. What do you think about the upcoming season? How do you think the Habs will do? Let us know. And I think that's it. Other than that, check out Harry on his channel, Harry Rice Hockey. Just type that in. You're going to find him. And check out the videos on this channel as well. Yeah. And that's it. I'm not going to bug you anymore. Until next time, stay safe out there. Peace out, everybody. And have a great night. Enjoy the podcast. And let us know that you did with a thumbs up and a subscribe. If you haven't already, that's it. Bye, everybody.